Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, for those of you who regularly geek out on this channel here, remember this video right here, where we talked about the efforts of both the National Association of Gun Rights and the NRA to seek injunctive relief for its members from the Pistol Brace Rule, similar to what 3 other organizations had done. Now, in reviewing the comment section, and yes, I do review the comments, so I know how many of you tell me what a dumb SOB I really am. But I began to see one constant theme, and that was this. Man, the haters of the NRA were really coming out. And I saw a lot of criticism of the NRA, and I saw a lot of consistent criticism of the NRA. Now, I say all the time that our role here at Washington Gun Law is not to tell you how to think, but to give you all the stuff to think about. What I want you all to help me to do today is to understand where this criticism is coming from. I'm not going to stick up for the NRA. I'm going to give you a lot of objective facts about the NRA, but I want to hear from all of you so you can help me educate and we can have a discussion about this. So today, this is what we're going to talk about. Serious question. Are any of you getting a return on this investment? Okay, so what we are talking about today is the NRA, and I recognize that I am treading out into some treacherous waters because there is no organization in the Second Amendment community which is larger. There is no organization in this community which has more power, has more financial resources, and has a longer and richer history than the National Rifle Association. In fact, they were doing this long before any of the other organizations were. That being said, let me tell you anecdotally what my experience has been with the NRA, and then I want to give you some objective facts. Okay, first of all, anecdotally, I've been a member of the NRA for several years. I'm a proud member of the NRA. This is what I get from the NRA. I get a mailer about once a week asking for more money, and I get a phone call about once a month asking for more money. Beyond that, I don't get a lot of other benefits from the NRA. Now, there are other reasons I joined for other benefits and memberships and other shooting clubs and things like that. So there's lots of other benefits. So I am not suggesting for one moment that membership in NRA is an absolutely worthless investment. But many of you seem to think that is exactly the case. And perhaps you are right. Now, let's talk about the NRA objectively for a moment, okay? We know that they have been through a rather tumultuous time since 2016. Around 2016, they had a bunch of bad breakups with business partners. There was all sorts of accusations of wasteful spending, including a little bit of a lavish lifestyle for Mr. LaPierre, is probably living a little bit higher than a person who runs a nonprofit organization should. There was mounting amounts of debt, and then, of course, there were several lawsuits also, okay? That then led to the NRA unsuccessfully attempting to file for bankruptcy, okay? And so when we take a look and when we chart the financial health of the NRA, we will see that in late 2017, 18, 19, and so on, it is a very, very sickening downward spiral. Now, that's not the end of the story, and I want you to hold on for that. But I found this article on a site called The Conversation. And the gentleman there, Brian Mittendorf, actually what he does is financial analysis for the long-term viability of nonprofit organizations. And what he wrote in this article is that the one thing that financial analysts will look at is what's called net unrestricted assets, okay? And what net unrestricted assets is if we take an organization's money, we take a look at all the money they have in the bank, and then we cancel out everything that they already have obligations for, okay? So any of their pre-existing know-it's-coming overhead, plus any of the programs that they intend on spending for the charitable cause, do they have a negative or positive cash flow situation at the end? Now, in the end of 2017, the NRA was sitting at a negative $30 million cash flow situation when we analyzed them under this net unrestricted assets. But it got worse, because by the end of 2019, they were down now roughly negative $50 million in net unrestricted assets. So at that point, we can honestly say that the NRA was in deep, deep financial trouble, and most of that was their own doing. However, One of the reasons that the NRA was unsuccessful in their bankruptcy filing is the NRA has made a significant financial turnaround, and they should be credited for making that turnaround. So if you take a look at their net unrestricted assets now, you will see that they are a significantly, and I do mean significantly, healthier nonprofit organization today than they were just 4 years ago. So kudos to that. But here's the other thing I want you all to be aware of. Did they make this huge financial turnaround through massive fundraising? No, actually their fundraising revenue is down. Did they do this through more membership? No, because obviously if their fundraising revenue is down, you could imagine what has happened with their membership numbers. Where did they save all this money? Well, they saved all this money by cutting costs, obviously, but the costs they cut were the program expenses to you, the paid members. You see, they could have cut perhaps, I don't know, several of the 100 high-paying salaries they probably have in middle management. I'm sure that Mr. LaPierre could probably take a little bit of a pay cut or a little bit of reduction in lifestyle, but he clearly is not willing to do that. And so the NRA did not reduce any of the fat in the operation, if you would. No, instead what they did is they cut the cost for the very people that they are raising the money from. Now, if you don't believe me, you can take a look at the numbers yourself. But to give you an example, in 2021, the NRA spent $75 million on its members and member services. Okay, now that sounds like a huge investment, right? Except that was $53 million less than what they had spent for the same line item just 2 years earlier. So one of the biggest and most common criticisms that we received in the comment section on this video was that people were not seeing any type of bang for their buck, that they did not see what the NRA was doing for them. And for many of you, that resulted in you deserting the NRA. Now, without trying to sound critical, because I'm trying to keep this video down the middle, when people ask me, what organization should I be donating to? The criteria that we have always used and very consistently used here at Washington Gun Law is who is actually in the trenches picking the fights for your rights? Who is actually willing to go get their knuckles bloodied and try to protect your civil liberties? And what we find time and time again, every time we look around at all of the legal challenges going on in state courts, federal courts, everywhere, and we take a look at who the named plaintiffs are. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at all the videos we've done on this channel when we talk about the organizations that are suing. This is who we see. We see the Second Amendment Foundation all the time. We see the Gun Owners of America all the time. We see the Firearms Policy Coalition all the time. Yes, on occasion, we see the National Association of Gun Rights. But how many times have I done a video about the NRA being the head plaintiff in a particular case? Because I know for a fact it's been one time. It was this video right here. It's about the Pistol Brace Rule. It's in North Dakota. And yes, the NRA is one of the named plaintiffs along with 26 other states. But if you watch the video, the person who is absolutely positively leading the charge is West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. So with all of that in mind, I want all of you to help educate me with your comments down below and simply tell me, are you getting a return on your investment with the NRA, or have you chosen to allocate your resources somewhere else? And if so, where and why? I would love to see a very spirited and open discussion so that all of us in this community can understand who we should be supporting. Listen, in the meantime, if you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of us. But if you don't, that's okay, because that information is right down there in the description box. In the meantime, I do want all of you to remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.